Hello there, my lovelies. How's it going? Welcome back to my channel, Boomy Reactions. My name is Boomy. Thank you for watching. Now, today, guys, I'm going to watch a video that is going to address a long-standing question that I have had, and that is, why are the school buses in the US, why are they yellow? Now, to us outsiders, as aliens from outside of the US, they are quite iconic. The American yellow school buses. And we quite like the idea of them because our buses are boring. They are. And school buses are just, there's nothing special about them. They're just ordinary buses. Yeah, you know, we get the double-decker buses, but they're not bright yellow. Now, we used to have, I think we probably still do, the double-decker buses that are in London. I think that they are still in London. They're not really anywhere else. The red buses. Yes. And I think they're quite iconic of London. But nowhere else, like here, up north, maybe other places have different colour buses. But ours only, they have like a company name written across them. Yeah, they're okay. They're colourful, I guess. But, you know, like Stagecoach or Arriva, you know, just bus companies, brands. That's it. They might have an advert on the back of them, but nothing outside of that. So they're just really boring, and that's just buses. A school bus is just exactly the same as a normal bus. It's just contracted to go and pick up the kids, or, you know, if that's probably best case scenario. So most of the time it's just a case of, well, there's kids that go to the school and they're at that bus stop and it's en route, so pick them up. Anyway, so yeah, they've become quite iconic to all of us, iconic of the USA. So that's where I think a lot of the interest comes from. I think they're fabulous. I love them. But I think that's also related to watching an awful lot of American TV growing up. And of course, the magic school bus. So yes, we're all aware of the yellow school buses, and yeah, we're all kind of, you know, low-key fascinated by them, I think. So, why are they yellow? I think that it's got to be something to do with visibility. Do you think? Like the safety of the kids, like, you know, they're easy to spot, aren't they? If something is yellow, especially with the contrast of the black writing on them. So you'd imagine it's because they're easier to spot and they're easy to spot in like bad driving conditions, like, you know, poor weather, poor visibility. I'd assume that's why, but then again, if that's the reason why don't we adopt it over here? It's probably because we don't have specialized buses that take children to school. Maybe. Anyway, let's watch the video, and I'm sure it's going to answer my question. Guys, if you're enjoying these reactions as well, don't forget to like and subscribe. Thank you so much, my lovelies. If you're interested, I have a Buy Me a Coffee account. That link is over here. And if you would like to help support my channel any further, I have a Patreon account. And if you want to check that out at all, that link is in the description below. Right, why the yellow?
Think about the last time you saw a school bus driving down the street. Even from a distance, it's almost impossible to miss. That bright yellow color stands out in traffic like a giant highlighter on wheels. Drivers notice it, pedestrians notice it, and even kids can spot it instantly.
Of course, and children can spot it. I think as well, like once you can spot a school bus from a fair distance away, you're going to be aware that there might be children around the bus, like crossing and not watching, you know, where they're stepping out into traffic. So I think it's just generally like a be aware. Just be aware there's kids around. There's something so cheerful about this little bus. Does anyone else feel like that? I think it's because it is a school bus. Obviously, you know that kids use it, and there's nothing more hopeful than the sight of young go-getters on the way to school, got their little bags ready. It's a lovely sight, that's what it is.
But have you ever stopped to wonder why school buses are painted that very specific shade of yellow in the first place?
Yes.
Why not red, blue, or even white?
I think yellow's more visible.
It might seem like a simple design choice, but there's actually a fascinating story behind it.
Oh.
One that involves science, safety research, and a historic decision that shaped school transportation.
Okay.
Today, we're going to explore why school buses are painted yellow. and how that color became one of the most recognizable sights on the road. Right here on History of Simple Things.
Now, you've also got the yellow cabs, haven't you? The taxis. Are they everywhere in the US, or is it just kind of, more of a like a New York kind of thing? I suppose that's where I remember seeing them. Maybe, maybe that's more of a be aware they're here to kind of signal people's interest. If they're looking for a cab, then they can see them more easily. Whereas the yellow school bus is probably something more related to safety of the children. I'd like to think anyway.
Before the late 1930s, school transportation looked very different from what we know today.
Oh.
In many parts of the United States, school buses didn't have a standard design at all. Some were wooden wagons pulled by horses, while others were converted trucks or buses painted in whatever color the local school district preferred. Some buses were blue, others were green, and some weren't even painted in bright colors at all.
At least there's allocated bus that takes them to and from school. I think that's a bit better than what we have over here.
Because there were no national standards, school buses varied widely in appearance and safety features.
Oh, okay.
This created a serious problem. Motorists often couldn't easily recognize a vehicle carrying children. As cars became more common in the early 20th century, roads grew busier and more dangerous.
Yeah.
Educators and transportation experts realized that school buses needed to be easily identifiable from a distance so drivers could slow down and exercise caution.
Because they're going to be coming to a stop maybe quite frequently. They're not going to be driving as quickly. So maybe they're going to take longer to maneuver, and be aware because there may be children either side of the school bus getting on or off or crossing, but accidentally when they shouldn't be. Just be aware that there's children there.
That realization set the stage for a major turning point in school transportation safety.
Mm-hmm.
The defining moment came in 1939 when education professor Frank W. Sear organized a national conference about school transportation safety. The meeting was held at Teachers College, Columbia University in New York.
Oh.
Sear invited transportation officials, school administrators, bus manufacturers, and safety experts from across the United States. For several days, the group discussed how to make school buses safer and easier to recognize. By the end of the conference, they had created a list of 44 national standards for school buses. These standards included things like the width of the aisle, the height of the seats, and other design requirements. But perhaps the most famous decision made at that meeting was choosing a standard color for all school buses. After testing different colors for visibility and readability, the group selected a bright shade of yellow that would later become known as National School Bus Glossy Yellow. That decision would permanently shape how school buses look today.
It's kind of odd. So would you guys recognize this shade of yellow as school bus yellow? Now, to people who don't have this shade of school bus, I would call it I don't know, I'd recognize that as kind of like a bumblebee yellow. It's not yellow enough to be sunshine yellow, but it's kind of got like hues of orange going on that I'd say bumblebee. But if you said school bus yellow, I would know the shade that you were talking about from watching TV. So.
The choice of yellow wasn't random. Researchers studied how the human eye detects color, especially in low-light conditions like early morning or dusk, times when many students are waiting for or riding school buses.
Yeah.
They found that the human eye is particularly sensitive to yellow. In fact, yellow is one of the easiest colors to spot in peripheral vision, meaning drivers can notice it even if they aren't looking directly at it. Another advantage is contrast. Black lettering, like the words school bus, stands out extremely clearly against a yellow background. This makes it easier for drivers to read important warnings from farther away. Compared with darker colors like blue or green, yellow also remains visible in fog, rain, and dim lighting conditions. This improved visibility helps drivers recognize a school bus sooner and react more quickly. In short, yellow offered the best combination of visibility, readability, and safety.
I don't know what it is about the contrast between a red sign, a green sign, or a yellow sign, but there's something about that yellow that draws your attention so much more quickly and makes you feel more alert about it. Am I crazy? Am I the only one that feels like that? Whereas, a stop sign in red, yes, I think we associate red with danger, don't we? Whereas I think we'd be quicker to associate the color of a bright yellow with caution. But, it is that fast, like caution, be on high alert. Whereas, I don't know, the red might feel a bit more daunting. Maybe I'm thinking way too much about these colors. You know what I mean?
There's also an interesting scientific reason why yellow stands out so well. The human eye detects colors through light wavelengths, and yellow sits near the middle of the visible spectrum where our eyes are particularly sensitive. Because of this, yellow objects appear brighter and more noticeable than many other colors under the same lighting conditions. This is why yellow is commonly used for warning signs, hazard markings, and safety equipment.
Yes.
In traffic safety studies, yellow vehicles and signs are often detected more quickly than darker colored ones. That extra fraction of a second can make a big difference when drivers need to slow down or stop near a bus that's picking up children. For school buses, the goal was simple: make them impossible to miss.
So I've just thought of something. So for those of us who are colorblind, how does the contrast work? How do these people see yellow? Is there something? I don't actually know. What do colors look like when you're colorblind? Is there a greater contrast between yellow and other colors, so it's so unmistakable, even if you can't necessarily see certain colors? How does that work? Maybe that's another reason why yellow is the best choice for a bus. Do you know what I'm saying? Not explaining that very well.
The specific color used for school buses isn't just called yellow. It actually has an official name.
What is it?
National School Bus Glossy Yellow. Sometimes people also refer to it as school bus yellow. This color standard ensures that buses across the United States look nearly identical. When drivers see that distinctive shade, they immediately associate it with children and school transportation. The consistency also reinforces safety rules. Drivers learn early on that when they see that color and those flashing lights, they must slow down or stop.
Exercise caution.
Over time,
yes,
the color itself became a universal signal. Children nearby proceed with caution.
Yeah.
While the color is important, it's only one part of a larger safety system. Modern school buses also include flashing red lights, stop arms that extend from the side of the bus, reflective markings, and high-back padded seats designed to protect passengers.
Okay.
These features all work together with the bright yellow paint to make school buses one of the safest forms of transportation for children. In fact, studies from the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration consistently show that traveling by school bus is far safer than riding in a regular passenger car.
Is it? Oh, wow. I didn't know that. I was just thinking, but they don't have seat belts. So what is it about them that makes them safer? Because you'd assume, wouldn't you, that any car that had, if you were in the passenger seat and you had a seatbelt, you'd be more secure than if you were sitting on these school buses. Because they don't have seatbelts, do they?
The bright color plays a crucial role by making the bus visible long before a driver reaches it.
Oh, you can
So
spot
the
them a
next
mile
time
away,
you see a
can't you?
school bus driving down the road, remember that its bright yellow color isn't just a design choice. It's the result of careful planning, scientific research, and a major safety effort that began nearly a century ago. What started at a conference organized by Frank W. Sear in 1939 eventually created one of the most recognizable vehicles in the world.
How come they didn't name
That
it after him?
distinctive shade of yellow helps drivers spot school buses quickly, read warning signs easily, and react in time to protect children getting on or off the bus.
I kind of feel like they should have named this shade of yellow sea yellow. No, am I the only one that thinks that? I think it's kind of amazing that during that time era there was an awful lot going on, and there are still people that fought to make this like an actual thing. They believed so passionately that there needs to be improvements in child education transport, that they organized the meeting between all of these people, and they made it real. They made it into an actual thing. And this isn't something that only happened like 20 years ago. This happened in like 1939. So I applaud them.
In other
It should be
words,
sea yellow.
the color of a school bus isn't just about appearance. It's about visibility, awareness, and safety. Sometimes, the simplest details, like a coat of yellow paint, can make a huge difference on the road. Thank you for watching. If you have suggestions for our next video, feel free to share them in the comments below. We'll be sure to give you an acknowledgement for your contribution. Thank you for joining us on this journey through the history of simple things. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and stay tuned for more stories woven through the smallest details.
I know I stand by that. I kind of feel like that shade could have done with being referred to as sea yellow. Does anyone ever call it that? Is that a thing? Or at least call them I don't know, Sears school buses? No. He campaigned and, he made it into a thing, and just think how many more children have been safer going backwards and forwards to school with this, with the school buses, the yellow school buses. So I think the least he could have done is name the shade after him, or at least the bus. No, I think I'm on my own there. So yes, it is a visibility thing. Which makes sense, doesn't it? I do think, yeah, we do see that shade of yellow, don't we? And we think caution, but we think it really quickly, as opposed to the red of the stop signs, where we see something in red and we immediately associate it with danger, I think. And then green is a bit like for your information, isn't it? Or sometimes blue signs or green signs. I feel like that is kind of like for your information, this like road signs and such. Anyway, it's very interesting. Very, very interesting video. So it just makes me happy when I see that yellow school bus. But I think that was because I used to watch the Magic School Bus as a child. So I associate it with wild adventures and, maybe potentially shrinking down to the size of a pea. Or going to visit the dinosaurs. Anyway, guys, I hope that took you down memory lane a little bit, maybe nostalgia going on there. I hope you enjoyed the video, guys, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.